Welcome to True Life Lessons, where we explore the deepest meanings of our existence through stories that touch the human soul. Meet John, a brilliant young boy with a sharp mind, yet he possessed a restless spirit that always demanded instant results. For him, waiting was a heavy burden, and he believed that everything in life should happen exactly when he wanted it. He rushed through his meals, hurried through his homework, and never took a moment to appreciate the beauty of the process. One afternoon, aiming to finish his daily exercise quickly, John ran into the woods, ignoring the serene whispers of nature. His fast pace was interrupted by a soft, distressed sound that caught his attention, forcing him to pause and look around. Hidden beneath the ferns lay a small, fragile bird, its wing bent at an awkward angle, shivering in the cold shadows. Compassion instantly flooded John's heart, replacing his usual haste with a moment of genuine care for another living creature in need. He decided to name the little bird Sunno, promising to protect it and nurse it back to health with his own hands. Back in his room, John created a cozy sanctuary, hoping that a warm bed would be enough to fix everything quickly. He fed Sunno water, drop by drop, watching intently, expecting the bird to bounce back to full energy within a few hours. The very next morning, John rushed to the makeshift nest, fully expecting a miraculous recovery, but the bird remained weak and still. Disappointment clouded his face as he realized that healing was not an instant event, but a slow and often tedious journey. He scoured through books looking for shortcuts or secret remedies that could speed up nature's rhythm, but he found absolutely nothing. Days turned into nights, and while he provided care, his patience began to wear thin as progress seemed agonizingly slow to him. He began to urge the bird to move, tapping the box gently, unable to accept that the wing needed more time. His mother tried to explain that healing takes time, but John was convinced that with enough effort he could force results. When Sunno finally stood up on wobbling legs, John mistook this small step for a complete recovery and made a plan. Excitement overtook wisdom as he carried the fragile bird outside, believing that fresh air and open space would trigger flight. The little bird looked at the vast sky with hesitation, shrinking back into the safety of the box, clearly not ready. John grew frustrated with the bird's hesitation, urging it to fly, convinced that fear was the only thing holding it back. Forced onto the edge of the table, Sunno spread its wings, which were still tender and not yet fully strong enough. John clapped his hands loudly to startle the bird into flight, a foolish mistake born from his desire for immediate success. The bird launched into the air, but its strength failed instantly, and gravity pulled it down towards the unforgiving hard ground. Time seemed to stop as John watched the small creature hit the earth, a painful consequence of his refusal to wait. He ran to the bird, his heart pounding with regret, seeing that the wing was now twisted worse than it was before. Tears welled up in his eyes as he cradled the injured bird, realizing his impatience had caused unnecessary suffering and pain. He ran to his mother, sobbing uncontrollably, carrying the weight of his mistake in his hands and a lesson in his heart. His mother worked silently to repair the damage, while John stood by, wishing he could turn back time and just wait. Once the bird was safe, she sat John down, looking deep into his eyes with a mixture of love and seriousness. She wiped his tears and told him that love requires patience, and true care means respecting the natural timeline of healing. She explained that you cannot force a flower to bloom by pulling its petals. You will only destroy its beauty forever. John listened intently, his heart heavy but opening up to a truth he had ignored, that everything has its own season. She told him that sometimes God delays things not to deny us but to protect us until we are truly ready. That night, John lay awake, realizing that his need for control was actually a lack of trust in the greater plan. The next morning, he approached the cage differently, not with demands, but with a quiet presence and a humble, patient heart. He spent days simply sitting by Sunno, reading books and doing homework, offering companionship without any pressure to perform or fly. He also started helping his mother in the garden, learning that the soil cannot be rushed and growth happens in silence. When Sunno began to flutter its wings again, John didn't clap or shout. He simply watched with a breath held tight. He learned to appreciate the rainy days, understanding that without the rain, there would be no strength for the coming spring. 2 weeks passed and Sunno transformed. Its feathers were glossy, its eyes bright, and its strength had fully returned naturally. John opened the cage door one sunny morning, but this time he stepped back, giving Sunno the space to choose freely. The bird hopped to the threshold, looking at John as if acknowledging the new trust that had grown between the two. Sunno took flight, circling the room with power and grace, before landing gently on John's shoulder to share a moment. They walked together to the edge of the forest, the place where their journey began, ready for the final step forward. John lifted his hand toward the sky, feeling a bittersweet emotion, knowing that letting go was the ultimate act of love. With a powerful thrust, Sunno launched into the blue, flying higher and stronger than John had ever imagined possible before. Watching his friend soar, John felt no regret, only a deep sense of peace, knowing that the timing was finally perfect. He walked home slowly, noticing the small wonders of the world, realizing that rushing through life only blurs the beautiful details. He hugged his mother, thanking her without words for teaching him that the best things in life are worth waiting for. Life is like an hourglass. You cannot force the sand to flow faster. You must trust the process of time. Just as the stars appear only when the sun sets, our blessings appear only when the time is divinely right. John wrote down his story, promising himself never to force open a door that was meant to be opened later. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. The tree does not strain to grow, it simply trusts the seasons. He became a beacon of patience for his friends, teaching them that understanding takes time and shortcuts often lead to failure. Like a butterfly struggling to leave its cocoon, our struggles are often necessary preparations for the heights we are meant to fly. The boy who once tapped his foot in impatience was now a young man who understood the strength found in stillness. Every time he saw a bird in the sky, he was reminded that freedom and success come to those who wait. Trust the flow of your life, knowing that delays are not denials, but simply part of a much larger journey. He learned to savor the tea, the conversation, and the moment, realizing that the present is a gift we must open slowly. Patience is not just about waiting, it is about keeping a good attitude while waiting and trusting in the process. In a world that is addicted to speed, choosing to wait is an act of courage and deep spiritual wisdom. The darkest hour is just before the dawn, and if you give up too soon, you miss the miracle of light. Plant your seeds of effort and water them with faith, then step back and let the universe do its work. Remember that before a tree can touch the sky, its roots must grow deep into the dark earth in silence. When we rush, we miss the chance to be kind, but when we slow down, we connect with humanity deeply. Stop fighting against the clock, for time is a tool to be used, not a master to be feared constantly. John found freedom not in getting what he wanted immediately, but in the peace of accepting what life offered him daily. The bird taught the boy to wait, and the boy taught the bird to trust a perfect circle of growth. If you are waiting for your moment, do not lose heart. Your wings are growing even when you cannot see them. Trust in the timing of your life, for the universe writes the best stories for those who have the patience to read. Surrender your timeline to the greater power and watch how anxiety is replaced by a profound and lasting sense of peace. Years later, John would tell this story, reminding the next generation that patience is the key to unlocking life's treasures. So whenever you feel stuck, remember Sunno, and know that your time to fly will come exactly when it should. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. May you find the strength to wait for your blessings. This has been True Life Lessons. Please subscribe and share this story to help others find peace in their waiting.